Hello guys! So today I'm here with 5 horror book recommendations to make your Halloween more spicy, juicy, thrilling and interesting because all of these books are just my goal of today's video is to make you fall in love with reading because if you are here on my channel, you will definitely be leaving as a bookworm. So even if you are a non-reader, you have never read a book before, trust me, after watching this video, you will end up picking at least one book out of today's recommendation. And this is my goal for today's video and I hope that I succeed at it. So without any further bug, let's get started. So the first book that we have is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. This is a psychological thriller and oh my goodness, this is one of my most favorite books because trust me, everything about this book is so effing amazing. This is a story of Mallory who is raising 2 children, but the strange thing is that they are not allowed to get outside of their house with their eyes open. Like if they want to move out, they have to cover their eyes with something because there is something outside into the world and no one knows what it is. But if you see that thing, you are going to die right in that moment. Like if you see that, you are dead because you are not allowed to see what it is, and this is exactly what the suspense is about. The book revolves around 2 timelines. One is the present, in which we see that Mallory finally musters up the courage and decide to get herself and her children out of the place in which she is living, and we see all the struggles that she has to go through. And when the book takes us to the past, we see that there are so many characters involved along with Mallory, and they are all trying just to survive by living in the same house in which Mallory is living in the present with her children. Now of course, because they cannot remain stuck in the same house for long, they have to take so many risks and they have to go on so many adventures, and this is exactly where the most thrill and fun is. I was literally crying at the end, and I love books that bring such kind of emotions within me. So the question is, what had happened to the other characters? What had happened to Mallory in the past? Will Mallory be able to survive, and what is the danger that is out there? So in order to find out all those answers, you have to read the book by yourself, and trust me, you won't regret it. Now the second book is quite controversial and a popular one, which is The Haunting Adeline by H.D. Cartlon. I know there are a lot of controversies around this book, but hear me out. First of all, I respect everyone's opinion, so if you don't like this book, completely fine, you can directly skip to the third recommendation. And secondly, I just want to say that read both the books and then talk to us. Yes, this is a dark romance, but trust me, it has a taste of thrill and horror and suspense. You won't regret it reading during Halloween, trust me. And it is literally impossible to not include this book if we are talking about Halloween. Like guys, the book itself says haunting. This is a story about Adeline Raleigh, whose life is pretty boring and she is an author. Now her boring life finally gets the spark when she meets her stalker, Zaid Meadows. Zaid is a character whose life mission is to save women and children from sex and human trafficking. And one day he comes across a bookstore where he first time saw Adeline at a book signing event. And he instantly falls in love with her and is literally obsessed. And then he becomes a stalker just for the women he is in love with. And as the book suggests, he basically starts to haunt Adeline by showing up to her place randomly out of nowhere in mysterious and haunting ways. The thing is that Adeline is someone who actually loves the thrill. She loves the suspense. She loves the adventure. So Zaid starts to treat her in the exact way she wants to be treated. Some of the readers out there take that in a wrong way. They think that Zaid harassed Adeline and he's such a wrong man. If you have really understood the book, that is not the case. And by the way, it's a dark romance book. What else do you expect? Giving my honest opinion, if you want to read this book, you have to have a little bit of patience because the storyline of this book is not that engaging. I mean, trust me, the ending was great. There is an amazing plot twist at the end of the book, but that is the thing. It is at the end of the book. You have to have a little bit of patience. But the smut was too good, like it was fantastic. And the plot twist continues in the second part of the book, that is Hunting Adeline. Now please kindly read the trigger warnings before reading this book because it is even more darker than the previous one. Not in terms of romance, but in terms of a lot of other things. Okay, it's actually very traumatizing. It's very disturbing. This book was amazing, guys. Like the author beautifully explained the impact of trauma, not only on the person who has gone through it, but also the people around that person. My favorite thing about this book is that we finally get to see a different side of Zaid in this book. Even I had a negative opinion of this book because of the bookstagram. I thought that is just another book romanticizing abuse and all that shit. But trust me, once I finally picked it up and read it, oh my goodness, all I think is, why haven't I read this book before? Fascinating thing about this book is that the author not only focuses on the male character, she beautifully expresses the traits of both the character. Both of them are so bold and strong. That is exactly what makes them a power couple. You will only be able to understand that if you read both the books. I think Zaid Meadows is the only morally grey character out there in the fictional world whose charm remains the same from the beginning till the very end. His dialogues are always on point and he never fails to shock and surprise us with his actions. You know, usually when we think about dark romance, we often imagine things like a mafia man or a multi-millionaire falling in love with a very simple and normal girl. But this book actually gives you something different. It's fresh, it's fun. And if you have a lot of problem with this book, then listen. These kind of books come with trigger warnings, right? Read that, and then if you don't like that, put the book down. You don't have to judge other people for their choices. And lastly, I just want to say that Zaid, they can never make me hate you. The third recommendation is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This book is literally a perfect mix of suspense and thrill. Amazing thriller. Now the story starts with a woman named Rachel whose life is a complete mess. In fact, every single character's life in this book is a mess. She is addicted to alcohol, she is still in love with her ex-husband very much, and she has no home to live. She is living at her friend's house. She has lost her job, so she is trying to find herself a new job. So in order to go to another city, she takes the same train every single day, and the train stops at a particular station every single day, from where she looks at a couple, Jess and Jason, which are not their real names, by the way. Rachel is very imaginative, so these are the names which she has herself given to them. And in her imagination, Jess and Jason are the perfect couples. They are living in a very healthy relationship, in a very healthy marriage, until one day she sees something which contradicts her belief. She saw Jess kissing some another guy, meaning she cheated on her husband. Now that couple all of a sudden becomes a very important part of Rachel's life, especially when she finds out that Jess is missing. No one knows where she has left, she's just missing. And now Rachel is also somewhat the part of the investigation, which completely changes her life. If you are someone who loves to solve mysteries, this is your book. The ending, even though it was quite predictable for me, but yet it was amazing. This book has the ability to really mess with your mind, you know, like it will make you eagerly frustrated about what is going to happen in the end, like who is the real culprit. The next book that we have is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This is a story of a woman named Verity who is madly in love with her husband, and she is literally obsessed with him to such an extent that she literally kills her own children just because her husband loved them more. That's it. I think this will be enough for me to convince you to pick this book up. Verity in the present is actually paralyzed. Okay, she got injured. She can't talk, she can't move her body, but she is a very popular author. So in order to continue her work, her husband Jeremy decides to hire a woman, and the name of that woman is Lowen. So when she goes to Verity's house and she enters her office, she finds out her autobiography, which basically tells us about Verity's past, which is so questionable and something to be afraid of. And obviously there are so many creepy, strange, questionable and mysterious things going on in the present, which you have to find out yourself by reading this book. I know Colleen Hoover is disliked by so many people, but trust me guys, considering the fact that she is someone who is known for writing romance novels, but she is the same woman who has written this masterpiece. The way she twisted the entire story was something really appreciable, and it truly is a masterpiece. The ending will literally leave you with so many unanswered questions, and that is the beauty of this book. And also it is very beginner friendly because it's very thin and really easy to read. So yeah. And finally, the last book that we have, of course you have heard the name, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I really hope I took the name correctly. This is a story of a woman named Alicia Berenson who has killed her own husband, who she actually really loved, and no one knows why, because after killing his husband, she goes silent and she never speaks again to anyone. She never even utters a word. She is then placed in the mental hospital where so many people try to treat her, but they have failed to get an answer. And then comes the role of a forensic psychotherapist who is so sure of himself that he can treat Alicia parents in. But the thing is that his life completely turned upside down when Alicia finally spoke to him. This book is definitely very, very engaging, and again, if you're into solving mysteries and all these things, definitely not miss out on this book. Guys, the plot twist, it was literally something so unexpected, but yes, I was personally disappointed with it. Just giving my honest opinion. That's it, guys. I really hope that I convinced you to pick at least one book out of today's recommendations to add a little bit more spice to your Halloween. I know this video was a bit different than the ones I usually make, but I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it. God bless you, and I will meet you guys in my next video.